One of the many, many things I loved about UT was that there are so many leadership opportunities for students here. And I hope that you'll continue to take advantage of the leadership opportunities that are presented to you as you go to college. We're very pleased today to welcome Natalie Butler, who is the student body president here at the University of Texas at Austin. Natalie is a senior. She's majoring in Plan 2 Honors, Government and Communication Studies. She's from Tempe, Arizona. So I assume, Natalie, you weren't born in Texas, but you got here as fast as you could. So we'd like to see that. Since her freshman year, Natalie's been involved in student government. She's been involved in a number of activities, including Orange Jackets. She served as a peer advisor, and I'm sure we'll hear about many of the activities and the issues that are near and dear to Natalie's heart. So please join me in welcoming Natalie Butler.
Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for having me. This is really such an honor, and it's so wonderful to see all of you here, all of the students that are attending this, and all of the people that are here serving as counselors. So thank you all so much. I am going to tell you all a little bit about myself and then some of the things I've learned about leadership during my time here at the university, and then I would be more than happy to take questions from any of you in the audience. So keep that in mind while I'm talking. I would stay here for as long as you want, and I'll answer any questions y'all might have. Like Ronnie said when she introduced me, my name is Natalie. I am from Phoenix, Arizona. I grew up in a small town in New Mexico, moved and went to high school in Arizona, and then made the grand decision to move 1,000 miles away from everything I knew and come to the University of Texas. And looking back, that is the greatest decision that I've ever made. It was frightening, it was incredibly scary, but the decision to come here has changed my life for the better in every way possible. I love this university, I love Texas. Not born here, but I got here as fast as I could, and I intend to stay. And it was a challenge and it was a risk, but it was definitely the right thing to do. Student government on this campus, we serve as the official voice of students. And so if the UT administration, the state, the city of Austin, the Texas legislature, the governor, our board of regents, even those in DC working in our government want to know what UT students think, they come to us. And I have the privilege this year of serving as the head of that organization as the president. I had to be elected by the entire campus to do that. We run in campus-wide elections. We had fierce competition this year, and ran a good campaign and still get along well with our competitors, and we're able to win this election. So my vice president and I have had a great time serving in these past few months, and we will continue to serve in these roles until April. It's definitely going to be a challenging year, but I'm sure we'll learn a lot during our time. But that's only one part of my college experience. The academics and all the other things I've been a part of have also been incredibly influential in my college experience so far. And getting involved on campus and pursuing leadership opportunities has been the most transformative thing. Obviously, academics are incredibly important. I love my classes, and I'm a huge nerd. But I've almost learned more outside of the classroom than I have in the classroom. And I think that as all of you move through your leadership experience in high school and into college, you might find the same things. Those values and those experiences that you have outside the classroom when you're interacting with others and when you're leading others are some of the things that will challenge you the most, and that will also teach you the most as you move through those experiences. Over my time here, I've come up with a few tricks and a few tips that I think are really valuable as you think about leadership. And I want to share a few of those with you today. The first thing, and one of the most important, is that you develop and maintain relationships. Only so much happens if you just move through the institutional process that is available for something. Real change and really great things only happen through developing relationships. Those one-on-one interpersonal connections that you make with people now and for the rest of your lives are the things that will develop your social capital and the things that you will be able to turn to really accomplish your goals in life. So keep that in mind in everything that you do, is that those people that you meet and those relationships you develop will be instrumental in accomplishing the goals you want to do, be that passing a class or taking on an initiative that could totally change the world. Relationships are the #1 thing to turn to get those things done. Another thing I've learned over my time here is don't be afraid to try new things. For me, coming to UT was a new thing. I had never really spent a lot of time in Texas. I didn't really know what I was going to. I had no idea that Texas had an Independence Day. I didn't know the words to the Yellow Rose of Texas. I had absolutely no idea about any of these things. I grew up with a little bit of an accent, but that was something completely different. I had family in West Texas, but I got over that, pretty much lost it. But that was a risk, and it was a new thing for me, but I've learned so much, and it's incredibly beneficial. I took a risk in running for this position, and win or lose, it would have paid off because I would have learned something and I would have grown in some way. And so I think that's another thing to keep in mind as you want to learn more about leadership is don't be afraid to try new things. Those risk-taking opportunities can absolutely change your life. They can open doors, and you will discover things that you never even thought possible. Some of the greatest opportunities in your life aren't ones that are staring at you from the beginning. They're things that pop up that might be a little bit of a challenge and might be a risk, but that can be the most rewarding things that you decide to do. Another thing that I think everyone needs to keep in mind as they explore leadership opportunities is to be aware of your strengths and weaknesses and to use those to work with others. Some people are really wonderful organizers and event planners, and others are really great idea people. One probably shouldn't be taking on a project that has to do with the other. Those two people need to come together to make things happen. Your strengths and weaknesses will allow you to develop those relationships that we said are so important. If you keep in mind the things that you're good at and the things that maybe you're not, you can develop those skills you might need, but you can also allow yourself to work with others to accomplish even bigger goals. So know your strengths and weaknesses, be aware of them, work on them, but also leverage those to work with others. One of the other things that I think is really important is that I firmly believe that you don't succeed unless other people want you to. And what I mean by that is that you need to find mentors, and then you need to mentor others. I would not be where I am today if I hadn't have found people who wanted me to do good things. And I've since turned that around, and I want to mentor those people that might be younger than me or have questions or be going through experiences that I've had in the past. If you don't have other people who want to see you succeed, you're functioning as an island, and that's not a really way you can get anything done. But if you build those relationships and networks, and you help mentor others, and you find yourself mentors, you will be able to get so much more accomplished as you move through leadership. Leaders are not, in my opinion, I don't think leaders are people who function alone. I think leaders are those who function best within groups of people. If you come together with others, many minds are way more powerful than one. So find mentors for you, and then as you get older, find people that you can mentor in the future. And the last little bit of advice that I want to give you all about leadership, and this one sounds like it shouldn't even have to be said, but let me promise you that as you move through your lives, you'll realize it's something that everyone needs to keep in mind, is that treat others the way you want to be treated, and do everything you do in leadership with integrity. You are not always right. That's a hard thing to understand, and have the humility to know that you're not. But treat others the way that you want to be treated, and you will be able to accomplish so much more with the things that you want to do. You can change the world if you treat others with respect and that you have integrity in everything that you do. Sometimes that's hard to do. Sometimes you have to step back and take a good look at the decisions that you're making and make a decision that you can be proud of down the road. So those are little tips that I have that I've learned. There are a lot of others. I've got a lot of stories, some funny, some not. But I would be more than happy to take any questions y'all have. I've been on this campus for quite a while, and I've loved every minute of it. So if you guys have any questions about anything, I would be there are already people raising their hands. I'd be more than happy to take them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm from Houston. And I wanted to ask you what your weaknesses were whenever you got here, and how did you get encouraged to do what you do now?
One of my greatest weaknesses is I sometimes forget to consider the emotions of others when I'm doing something. I'll tend to act on pure logic without thinking about the needs and the feelings of the people involved. And let me tell you, that's not really a good way to do anything. The needs and emotions and desires of others drive a lot of things that happen. Those emotions play a huge role in everything we do. So that's constant work for me, is to make decisions with logic, but also keeping in mind all of the emotional aspects of decision making. And so that's still one of my weaknesses, and I'm aware of it. People remind me of it all the time when I say something without thinking it through. But the desire to fix that and to accomplish things has come from being inspired by others. I've watched students come before me who have overcome things that I can't even understand, and they've accomplished incredible things on this campus and beyond. And watching those people succeed and the drive that they have to help others has really what's made me want to do what I've been doing. I think that if you can look back at a day and ask yourself the question, what did I do to help others today? And if you can come up with an answer, then you've had a good day. And if you can't come up with an answer, then maybe you need to do a little bit more the next day to help other people. And so keeping that in mind is sort of what's given me the drive to do what I keep doing. I'll just go around this way.
Hi, my name is Joanna, and I'm from Fort Hancock, Texas. First, I want to thank you for sharing your experiences with us. I wanted to ask you, if you were when you were a senior in high school, did you already know you were going to major in that, or did you change a couple times?
I had my Coming to UT, I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. I applied to the Plan 2 honors program not knowing what it was. It just kind of popped up, and I was like, that sounds nice. It's an extra essay, whatever. I got in not knowing what it was, and that's ended up being one of the best decisions I've made. So if you're interested in the liberal arts at all and you want to do research in college, look into the Plan 2 honors program. But that just worked out. I did add a major once I got to college. I went to a few lectures with some professors in the government department, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to take classes with some of those people if I didn't major in government. And so I switched some things around, and I added that major because I realized that I was missing a little bit of something. But even though I sort of stuck with the plan I had when I got here, I've had a lot of friends who have changed their minds through over time. My best friend, my roommate, who is doing Teach for America now in Dallas, she came into college as a business and Chinese major. She wanted to go conquer the business world, move to China and do all those kinds of things. And she realized that that's really not where her heart was. Maybe it could have been a lucrative decision, but it wasn't something that was going to make her happy. And she graduated as an English and government major, and now she's going to go be teaching children math in Dallas for the next 2 years. And so, she made that decision at the midway through her sophomore year to completely change her track in college, but it turned out great. I think if you do things that you love, you'll find a future that fits in with it. In her example, she wasn't happy with where she was going, even though it probably would have led to a job. She changed into something she had passion for, and now she's in an even better place. So if you do want to change your mind, talk to your academic advisor and make a good decision about it, but don't feel like you're ever stuck in any of the decisions that you're in. That's my piece of advice. Okay, you.
Hi, I'm Catalina. I'm from Austin, actually. And my question was, on a campus with thousands of students, how do you stand out and actually get elected to become president?
I think a way to make a campus this big, or any college campus, feel like home and feel smaller is to get involved in something. You can make a campus like this feel like home if you join a student organization or get involved. So my freshman year, I got involved in student government, but I also got involved outside of that and got to know a lot of students who didn't care about student government or had issues that they thought student government needed to be working on that they weren't. And it was through those connections and those relationships outside of student government that I think I ended up where I am. We also had to run a really intensive campaign, but we got people to help us out and to buy into what we wanted to do because we asked them what they wanted from us. We asked them, what do you want to see from student government? And that's how we developed the things that we're working on now in our administration, is by asking others what they wanted. I had ideas, but who am I to say that I know what's best? I think I needed to ask all of campus what they thought we needed to be working on. And I think that that's one of the ways we did it, is using those connections. But a piece of advice that I'll give you is, no matter what college you decide to go to, is get involved. Getting involved, my experiences involved outside of the classroom have really shaped my college experience. And I think a lot of other students will tell you the same thing. So no matter what you do, just show up to a club, take a flyer from someone, go to a meeting and see if it sounds interesting, because that can absolutely shape your friends, shape your experiences, and open your eyes to lots of new things. So definitely getting involved in things is the way to start off your college experience. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Erica Lozano from San Antonio, Texas. What is one of your most inspiring moments or experiences on your journey to where you are now?
Oh, that's a tough question. This might be a little bit of a long story, but I'll cut it down as much as possible. A really good friend of mine was in the position that I'm in now 3 years ago. And he and I are still very good friends. He's the person I turn to for advice when I need something. And near the end of his administration, we had a little bit of a political scandal on campus, and it centered around him. He had done everything right. He hadn't done anything wrong in most people's opinions, but it turned into a little bit of a problem for him. But the way that he handled that situation with an extreme amount of integrity, he admitted when he thought he was wrong, defended the actions that he thought were right, and took the questions that needed to be, and answered the questions that needed to be answered. And this is someone that I respect immensely, and this was sort of my mentor. When I say find a mentor and a person that can help bring you up, this is someone that I would consider among my list of mentors. And watching him deal with negativity that I didn't think he deserved in a way with so much integrity and staying so strong through it was really inspiring to me. I obviously hope I don't have to deal with a situation like that, but watching someone really stay true to who they were while they were dealing with something that it was really difficult for them after they'd done so many wonderful things for campus was in a lot of ways really inspiring. And I think that he came out of that process a stronger person. And it was tough, but I think that watching someone I respect so much go through that really inspired me to want to keep doing the things that I've been doing, because he stood by all the work that he'd done before that, stood by all of the great things he'd done for campus. And I think that the way he handled that definitely was an inspiring thing for me. Not necessarily fun to go through, but those challenges are often things that teach you the most. So, yeah.
Who would you say is the one person that have affected your life the most?
Ooh, probably my mother. My mom had to completely restart her life in the middle. She and my father got divorced when I was really young. She hadn't worked for 10 years, moved to a new city, and completely had to start her career over, which is something that's pretty hard to do. If you have a 10-year gap in your resume because you've been being a mom for a long time and you have to completely start everything over, that's tough. And she did that and has since been incredibly successful. She worked really hard and still managed to raise a family. And watching her do that and seeing now the sacrifices and the tough decisions that she made in order to give me the opportunities that I've had. I can't imagine going through what she went through, and I can't imagine having to make those decisions, but knowing that she did that has been inspiring for me. So a lot of the things that I do, I really want to make her proud and make sure that the decisions that she made and the sacrifices she made weren't made in vain. I don't think they have been so far. So I think my mom has had probably the biggest impact in inspiring me to do a lot of the things that I've done. Anybody else?
Okay, your parents divorced, so how did you get that? How did you get through that and continue through your education to like keep pressing through? And
yeah, I was really young. I was 6, and so I don't have a whole lot of living memory of before that, but it's tough. We moved away. My parents live about a 12-hour drive away from one another. And so trying to maintain the relationships with both of them throughout that whole time was not easy, but it took a lot of effort, but it's effort that's absolutely worth it. I didn't live with my dad through most of my time in school, but we are still incredibly close. He's a huge source of support and a role model for me as well. And maintaining that relationship was hard because we didn't live together, but making an effort to tell him what was going on in my life, even though he wasn't around for all of it, helped our relationship stay strong. And so even though he was far away, and I think this applies, if you have family members that have to live apart for work or in the military or those kinds of things, making sure that they know what's going on in your life and that you care about them, no matter what the distance may be, I think is how I made it through. Because those relationships are important regardless of the proximity that you might have to someone.
Hi, my name is Victor, and I'm from El Paso. Since your parents were divorced, did they help you a lot? And like through your career in college, did it harm you that your parents were divorced, even though you were very young since they got divorced?
I would say no. They both are very supportive in very different ways. I'm a lot like my dad, but my mom is a way better source of sort of emotional support and someone to call for a lot of things. And so I don't really think it hindered me at all. My parents were very hands-off when I was growing up. They never forced me to take classes. They never said, you have to get an A in this class. I was very self-motivated. And so they were never breathing down my neck to make sure that I did things. So now I think they've watched me in college and they're just like, well, I don't really know how that all worked out for you, but good job. They're very proud of me, but they never forced me to get involved in anything. They didn't tell me what I had to major in. And so I had to make all those decisions by myself, and I wanted to make all those decisions by myself. So that's just kind of the relationship I have with my parents, and I know that not everyone's is the same. But I think that, because I'd worked through high school and I'd communicated with them the whole time that I was young, they knew they could trust me to do those things. So, if you think that your parents, if your parents can trust you, it's likely that they'll give you a little bit more leeway to make those big decisions, because right now they're just happy for me. They know what my goals are, and they're just there to support me when I need it, but they're not there telling me exactly what to do. So they're both incredibly supportive in very different ways, but I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them.
Hi, I'm Karen Gonzalez. As student body president, what do you do? What's your role on campus? Like, what decisions do you make and stuff?
That's a tough question to answer because there's a lot to it. So one of the big things I do is my running mate and I ran on a platform. We ran on things that we wanted to do for campus. So a lot of our time is spent trying to implement those things. For example, one of them was we wanted to improve the risk management procedures that student organizations have to go through every year. I'm sure any of the student leaders in the room know exactly what I'm talking about when, clicking through the online modules when you're trying to register your student organization. Well, we're trying to make that process easier. So the meeting I was running that I was coming here from was with an administrator on campus who oversees that program, and we're trying to fix it. So part of our time is spent working on the things that we promise the student body. A large chunk of my time is spent reacting to things that happen around Austin. So, the Texas legislature is about to end its special session right now, and there are a lot of things that they decide that impact higher education. So we have to be ready to go down there and speak on behalf of students when there might be an issue that affects us. So I've been down at the Capitol a lot over the past few months talking about the budget and talking about guns on campus and talking about health insurance for students. And so we have to be ready to react to those kinds of things that happen that impact students. Another part of my job is I sit on a lot of committees. I'm the student representative on a lot of committees of faculty and staff on campus to try and provide the student voice for them. And so that's a big chunk of time, but I think it's something that's really important because otherwise a lot of these people might not have any idea what students think. One example of that is the president of the university, who I think y'all have already met or you're meeting later. You're going to meet on Thursday the president of the university, and he's really wonderful. And I chair a committee of students that meets with him once a month to share what students think about campus. And so he really looks to us to see the kind of things that the president's office should be working on. And so that's a really, something that I think is really important that we share those ideas. And then another thing is traveling to represent the university. I'll probably go to DC at some point this year to represent the university. I'm probably going to go to a lot of the cities y'all are from to meet with the student body presidents at the other UT system schools. So UT El Paso, UT Tyler, UT San Antonio, I'll probably go meet with all those people. So I travel a lot for the university as well. Do a lot of driving. I'm going to get to see Texas this year, and it should be fun. So that's kind of a long answer, but student government, we are the official voice of students. So if anyone, no matter who they are, wants to know what students think, or if there's a decision that's going to be made that impacts students here, it's my job and the organization's job to respond and to know what students think. So that's a long answer, but that's probably the best way I can describe it. Yeah.
Hello, I'm George Garcia from Bronzo, Texas. And moving away from your personal life and the student body, I'd like to ask you, what do you think is the most important or the best quality that a person should have in order to be a successful leader?
I think integrity. I think making decisions for the right reasons, making decisions because you want to help others, and staying true to yourself is really the only way that you're going to succeed as a leader, and the way that you're really going to get things done. And like I said, it's, you'll find a lot of people in leadership positions who might lack integrity, but I think eventually you'll know. I think eventually those things come to light, and you'll get to know people, and you'll find out who they really are, and maybe you realize you don't want to work with them. But what I've found is that if you do things for the right reasons, and if you have integrity, even if you disagree with someone, they can still respect you. And if they have that integrity too, you can still respect them. There are a lot of people on campus that I work with that I disagree with strongly about things, but we know where the other is coming from. We know that the other person is acting in their best interest and the best interest of what they think is best for the university. And so even though we disagree, because we have good reasons for what we're doing, I think that that is the most valuable thing in working with others. So keep that in mind. Always have integrity.
Hi, my name's Samantha. I want to know, how do you balance, being president and taking classes?
I have a calendar that is on my phone, and if I didn't have it, I would probably freak out every day. So I have a calendar online for my email account, and it syncs to my phone. And if I lost my phone one day, and I didn't have my calendar, and I had no idea what was going on for the rest of my day. So that's a way that I keep keep my brain from going crazy as I write down everything I have to do. But keep prioritizing and making sure that you do have some time for yourself. I try and make sure that I have enough time to exercise a few times a week because that's how I deal with stress. I'll drop everything and go for a run or go to the gym and then come back and tune back in everything I need to do. But if I didn't do that, then I would probably be dealing with stress and not have a way to deal with it. So trying to find a balance between everything that you're doing in your personal life. A lot of times it does take all-nighters or staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning answering emails. There are days like that. There are a lot of days like that. But if you do make the time for yourself and you prioritize the things that you need to do, it's manageable. Learning time management is something that everyone has to do in their own way. I don't think there's a prescription for being a good time manager. Everyone has to do what's right for them and prioritize what's right for them. But that comes along with knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, I think. But always, no matter how busy you are, leave a little time for your friends, your family, have a little bit of a social life, because otherwise you will go absolutely crazy. So don't plan all those things out of your life just to get other things done.
Hello, I'm Nicholas from San Antonio. I just wanted to know, we're doing these problems in groups, about environmental issues, healthcare, and stuff like that. Well, I have immigration, and I wanted to know, since you're president of your government here, like, how would you oppose to that? Like, is there a solution that you think?
A solution to immigration?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think that we need to find pathways for people to come into this country and contribute to society. I don't think that building a fence solves anything. I'm from Arizona, so I'm from a state that is embroiled in the immigration issue perhaps as much or more than Texas, and I really strongly disagree with a lot of the ways that they're approaching it in Arizona. I think we need to find ways to allow people to come to this country and contribute to our society. What exactly that looks like, I don't know. But I think that telling people they just can't come and closing the door on people in need is absolutely not the way to do it. I think that what makes this country great is our diversity, and I think what makes this country great is that we've always been open to anyone who wants to come here and pursue the American dream. And I think that we can't turn our backs on people, and we can't turn our backs on providing that American dream for others. And so how exactly we accomplish that, I really couldn't tell you, but that's the general philosophy with which I approach that issue. So I think some states and some lawmakers might be going in the wrong direction on that issue, but it's our job to tell them what we think and to let them know that maybe they're not doing things the way that we think is best. Anyone over here?
Hi, I'm Steven Dominguez. I live here in Austin, and I'm actually interested to hear what did you do in high school? What were you involved in, specifically your senior year?
I was president of the drama club my senior year. I was a thespian my entire way through high school. I loved doing theater, and to be quite honest, I miss it terribly. I haven't had time to do any theater or anything like that since I've been in college, and I miss it. But a lot of those skills you learn on stage are valuable in the position I have now, because there's a lot of public speaking involved, a lot of thinking on your feet involved. So, you know, that was one of the main things I did in high school. I was also involved in our National Honor Society, and I was in student council my senior year. I wasn't an elected position. I really wasn't like a campus politico when I was in high school at all. I was an appointed position in our student body, student council, and I enjoyed it a lot. But one thing I was really involved in my senior year, we didn't really have speech and debate at my high school, but do any of you have the We the People program at your high school? Okay, no, and it's not very big in Texas yet, but it's a competitive government program. It's sort of anyone who was going to do speech and debate at my school ended up doing We the People, and you compete on constitutional issues. You basically get a topic, you write a speech in response, and you prepare a lot of knowledge about the United States government and our Constitution and court cases and all those kinds of things. It's like a really intense AP government class, but you compete on a statewide level, and that changed my life. Taking that class my senior year absolutely changed my life. It's how I knew I wanted to go to law school. That's where I'm headed after my undergrad. It's how I knew I wanted to learn about a lot of these things, because I think that government is really cool, and maybe we don't have it exactly right, but I think we have it better than most other places here in the USA. And so that class was a lot of my time my senior year, but really changed my life. And I think that I wrote my undergraduate thesis about civic education, and can you teach people to care about democracy in high school government classes? That's what I did a lot of research about in the past year, and I wrote a 90-page paper about and turned it in. But I think you can, and I think the class I took is an example of how you teach people to value democracy in the classroom. So think about that as you enter your senior year government class. Hopefully they're teaching you that you should care about voting, and that you should care about what's going on in the world around you. Obviously all of you are here, so you do, but share that with your peers, because that's something that I think is really important and a challenge we're facing as we move into the future in this country.
Hi, I'm Andrea Trevino from La Feria in the Rio Grande Valley. And I know you said you get some insight, like you get to travel to the Capitol and hear some ideas and, I don't know, problems that are going on around campus. And I was just wondering how you felt about having the guns being allowed on campus and what your stance was on that.
My personal stance and the stance that student government has taken the past 3 years, so I can speak on behalf of the student body on this one because they said so. I'm opposed to it. I don't think that having guns on campus makes campus safer. I think we have a wonderful university police department that takes good care of us. The real issue I have with it is that if you're 21 and you have a concealed handgun license, you might be incredibly safe and know exactly how to use your firearm and be mentally competent. But what if your roommates might be having some mental health problems and contemplating suicide? Do we want to give them easier access to a gun? And my answer to that is no. That is an issue that's dealt with on college campuses. That's the reality of any college campus. You're dealing with new stress and all kinds of things. And so giving proximity to firearms to young people who might not be as healthy as they can be, to me is a really scary situation to put us in. So I'm not concerned about your average concealed handgun license owner. I don't have a problem with having a concealed handgun license. I think it's fine. But, and I think most people who have them are incredibly safe. But I don't think we should bring guns on campus and give students more access to firearms. That's my own personal stance. There are a lot of people who disagree with me, but I met with the senator down at the Capitol who sponsored that bill to try and bring guns on campus. He's an incredibly nice man and really thinks that that'll make students safer. He firmly believes it, and we just disagreed. And we had a nice conversation about it and then moved on to talk about other things. But you know, he thinks it'll make campus safer, and I don't. So sorry if any of you disagree with me on that one. But who else?
Hi, I'm Sarah from Dallas, and I just wanted to know that with the challenges that you decided that you needed in high school, did they help you throughout college, and how so?
Absolutely. I loved high school. I had a blast. And, but I decided to take a few courses that I knew would be challenging. I took a calculus, this is a tip, took a calculus class my junior year, took the AP test, and I passed it. And so I got tested out of a lot of calculus in college. Just, it was a great decision. Just keep that in mind, because I didn't have to take any calculus on the college campus. But doing theater, I learned a ton, because you really learn how to work with others and how to work in stressful situations. So that was something that it's really valuable. It didn't translate in exactly tangible ways, but a lot of the skills you learn are the same. And really just working with others. I think that high school, more than anything else, is also a social education. Learning about people that are different than you and working with people who might have different opinions than you. Those skills are only enhanced in college. And if you come into college without them, it's a little bit of a challenge. But if you learn those things in high school, I think that you come to the university setting with you know, some weapons in your bag, and you can get a lot more accomplished. So, you know, learn about, be open to learn about people that are different than you. And I think that that's something that's really important about high school. Anybody else have questions up there?
I'm Christy from Austin. I just wanted to know, since like you said that the student council took up a lot of your time, how did you like manage to do that and get your homework and stuff done? So.
That's a good question. I think I try and look at my day and know exactly what I'm doing for most parts of the day. So if I have a 3-hour break in between a class or a meeting, I will find that time to do homework. And I think looking at a day as like a business day and seeing what you can pack in to the day before you go to bed, I think that's how you get things done. So I might have been waking up at 8 in the morning to do homework before I even ever had to go to class. But if that was the only way I was going to get it done, then that was the only way I was going to get it done. So I think looking at your day, like, what can you accomplish between like 8 and 8 that day? And that way you can find time for social time. That's how I feel like I got everything done. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Katrina Lopez from Laredo, and I was wondering if you found anything out in college that maybe would be helpful for us for now, so we can be more prepared.
Okay. You are not always right. I remember thinking when I was graduating and going to college that I knew exactly what I was going to want to do, and I knew exactly how to get it done. And I felt kind of invincible. You know, I graduated from high school. This is great. I'd made a decision. I was going to a great university. Yeah, I didn't know anything. And learning, you know, it's true. I'm sorry. You'll all figure it out too eventually. Learning to learn from others, and that there are people who have come before you that can give you valuable advice, and take it. Because a lot of times they know what they're talking about a little better than you do. And learning to admit when you're wrong, because it'll happen. You'll make bad decisions. You'll take a class that maybe you shouldn't have taken or you weren't ready for. You know, take those advice and be willing to admit when you might have made a mistake. You know, that's hard to do, to call that friend or to call your parent and say, hey, Dad, you were actually right about that. I've had that conversation with my father a lot. I think he appreciates it. It was a little hard for me to do it first, but he appreciates it now. And being willing to do that will absolutely help you immensely, because there are people who are willing to help you if you ask the right questions. So don't be afraid to ask questions, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't be afraid to be wrong. I think if you come in with that attitude, that you'll try new things, but you'll also won't be afraid to do those things, you can get a lot more done and have more success at the beginning, rather than learning them the hard way, like I did.
We have time for one more question.
Okay. You haven't asked one yet.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm from Brownsville, Texas, and I was just wondering, what do you plan to do with your future?
I want to go to law school eventually. I don't know if I'm going to go straight through after I graduate in May. Long term, I am really interested in education policy. I think that working on education is really what I want to do with my life. I got to figure out exactly how to get there. So, because I think that there are a lot of issues with our education system, and that I think education is the silver bullet. It's the key to our future, and it's the great, it opens up opportunities for everyone. And so I want to make sure that everyone in this country is getting a stellar education. And if I can work for the rest of my life to help make that a reality, then that's really what I want to do. I can't give you a tangible answer of exactly how I want to do it. Maybe it's working in government, maybe it's working for nonprofits, maybe it's being a teacher. I don't know for sure. I do want to go to law school because I think a lot of education policy is embroiled in law and politics, and there's a lot you can do with that. It kind of gives you a lot of armor and connections with that degree. So I will be in law school some point in the next few years. I might move to DC beforehand and go have an adventure and live in the nation's capital and see how everything happens there to get that experience. But that's my plan. So I don't exactly know how I'm going to get there, but I kind of know what I want to do with it. So, and I don't think you need to know. Maybe that's another thing. You don't need to know exactly what you're going to be doing when you're 25, or exactly when you want to get married, or exactly when you want to be at this stage in your career. Because if you do that, you might be afraid to take opportunities that pop up randomly. So I don't think you need to have a plan set in stone, and you'll still be fine. I think I'll be okay. I'll figure it out. I didn't even know I was going to be doing this in my last year of college, but that's really what I want to work on in the future. So if any of you are interested in education, and I know you guys are splitting up and talking about different topics, some of you have education to talk about, good luck. I think it's something that's really, okay, there you go. I think it's a topic that's really important, so I hope you guys come up with some good ideas. Thank you all so much for letting me come speak.